You've already learned the basics of accessibility, and now we're going to see how we can apply that to a few other things, mostly when we're looking at the Microsoft suite, like Word and etc. Now, right here, we're looking at the home page. We're looking at your Ally checker telling us what's wrong with this document. In this case, it says the document doesn't have headings. I also recommend you click on All Issues and look at what else. We also have tables that are missing headers and text with insufficient contrasts. Now that we know those are the problems, let's go to our Word document and see what we can do. So, we go into our Word document, and here we have it. Now in this case, it doesn't look like it's all that organized. When I'm looking at that as any student, I'm thinking, oh my God, there's so much information. But we'll work on that by using accessibility standards. So let's look in here. We go to Review, and we're going to do Check Accessibility. By checking accessibility, it's going to pop up our accessibility checker. So that's going to help us as we go through, and that can help you as you're going through your document to make sure that you're not messing anything up. In this case, however, it says no headings in document, so it says the document's well structured, but in truth, there's no headings at all, and we need those. So I'm going to recommend go back to your accessibility checker and click on navigation pane as well. So this is telling me as a student navigates, it's only for strange reasons clicking on this one paragraph as a heading, which doesn't make much sense at all. In fact, this paragraph isn't even a heading. So let's see what we can do to make this document easier to read. And I hope as you watch the navigation panel, you're going to say, oh my God, this is great. This is what I want to do. We'll start here, and we want to give this a proper heading. This is our title, and it should be called a title. So we select on it and go here to Styles, and we'll turn that into a title. Now that makes a lot more sense. I'm also going to say, let's take a look at this Professor Harshney. We click on the style. We can put that as a subtitle. And that also fixes that hard to read contrast, because that was a bad contrast. I'm going to skip this table in a minute. We're going to come right back to it. But this basic course information is something you want students to highlight. So we're going to click on that. And again, we can either go to Styles here, or we can just right click and go to Styles down at that word, and we can turn that into a heading. Now you see what's building in our course navigation panel. Commitment to diversity, we're going to say that is heading 2 for that area. This is just text, so we don't really know why that's showing up as a heading at all. We click on Styles there, and we're going to make that normal. Now you see, as we're adding these actual headings, it's creating an outline for us. This is going to allow a non-sighted reader to skip to the content that they want to learn about. It's going to allow a sighted reader to actually get that level of organization. And when we're thinking about what that's looking for, that means they're looking for things like, how am I graded? All of those things we want our students to be able to find and access easily within our documents. So as you see, this is adding all of that information. When you have something that's important, I strongly recommend, and this is actually done properly, use your proper bullet structure. I know we all have some old documents where you put a little star in there and you said, look, that's a bullet. Now actually Word will say, no, let's turn that into a proper heading. But we can start making sure all of this is a proper list. So once you've done all of this, then you start getting, again, a structure which is easier for the students to navigate through. Now, I will go to one that I've actually finished fixing. And so we start looking, that's the wrong document. So this is where I've gone and I fixed it. And now a student can use this navigation panel with the proper headings to go through and find exactly what I want. What should I be expected to do in class? What are my assessments? What's the best way to study? The other benefit is when I was doing this, I looked at it and went, these student learning outcomes were in a weird place. But once you've done the headings, I can say, student learning outcomes, I want those to be all the way up here, and I can literally drag them, drop, and move it into the syllabus. So this is going to save you, the instructor, time by designing it this way and making sure that it's easy to have all of those different components. We also need to make sure, as I mentioned, that your tables are correctly done. Now you may see here I have basic course information. Well, in the previous one, it had it as a table. Table, that doesn't actually mean a table. That's not a proper use of table. When you're using a table, it should be in a table format because that makes sense. So when we start looking at, say, our week by week, that makes sense because you have all the topics, you have all of the weeks, and that's going to help a learner. So in that case, you want to have it properly formatted. In this case, it's a little bit weird, and this is very non-intuitive. You want to select on your table, you want to go to Table Properties, and for that top row, you're going to want, for the top row, you're going to want to click Allow to Break Across Tables and Repeat as Header at the top of the page. That's going to mark it so it will tell a screen reader that that is a title, and then we're going to start having that work correctly. So it is a little bit non-intuitive, but it works. We also want to make sure in our Excel files we have those proper headings. This is one that I threw together where I said YouTube videos views for these years. And if you look at it, this doesn't make any sense to even people who are sighted. So in this case, you want to be selecting the information that you want and then go to Home and actually format this as a table. In this case, it's going to, we'll pick blue here for this. It'll put it in there, and that's where I look at it and go, oh, this actually should not be in there at all. This column 1 shouldn't be in, and this is where I can actually realize I have formatted this incorrectly. So we're going to actually delete that, and we're going to turn this into our header row, and then that's going to start making a lot more sense. I'll show you how this was once I finished it. I again labeled the sheet YouTube totals, and now we can actually look at this, and now that makes sense as far as understanding the content. So I hope you understand that by using this proper heading structure and by using all of these different tools, you are going to make it easier for all learners to access the information that they need to access. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy the next one.